As a matter of fact, whatever space and whatever direction you end up going, whatever your weakness is, I have news for you. There's always someone to fill the gap. Find that person that is excellent at whatever you are really weak at. And together,
welcome to The Path to Wealth, the show about well-being, fulfillment, and financial freedom. And I'm your host, Hannes Henschel. Welcome back to The Path to Wealth, where we bring you some of the most exclusive interviews with successful entrepreneurs, mentors, and investors who are living their best lives. We have a very special guest today, Dr. Erin Hudson, an aspiring coach, entrepreneur, and mother of 5 children. She began her career as a chiropractor with several offices, leading and building her team of 30 people, and then transitioned into real estate investing full-time. Erin began in the single-family market, managing 26 family rental properties, and then shifted to multifamily. Quattro Capital owns and manages properties in over a dozen states. Interestingly, she's an avid runner and has run 16 marathons. She's also a volunteer for the less privileged in her community. Her passion is to inspire, inform, and help people that are struggling financially. She's an inspiration, to say the least, to many, including her children, who also follow her lead in the entrepreneurial journey. In this episode, Erin and me will share her exciting journey from being a chiropractor to becoming a full-time multifamily investor with us. When you listen to her, there is no room for excuses. Her mindset is right on. We will dive in her transition, challenges faced, lessons learned, and what inspired her passion for coaching and investing. Welcome to the show, Erin.
oh, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
Well deserved. Every time I'm exposed to you speaking on stage or, kind of seeing what you're up to, it's just mind-blowing, the level of action you take, the speed you're moving at. So where does that mindset come from? Is it something that you had to cultivate over the years, or where does that drive come from in your life?
Yeah, Hannes, I think that if I'm brutally honest with you, I was not the kid in school that was the A student. I was the one that, and even in sports, I was the one that wasn't naturally gifted. I was the one that had to put in the hard work to pass the test, to do well in sports. And so it was really a determination that I had in my head that I want to succeed in whatever it's going to take. Come hell or high water, I will come out on top. Doesn't mean I have to be the best. I just got to get her done, right? And so I think it's very much, we all have this beautiful entrepreneurial spirit inside each of us. And I think there's different degrees in which we each act it out. And so at a very young age, I just knew that I really wanted to walk out that entrepreneurial side. And I think it truly came from being in a home where my parents were truly living that paycheck to paycheck, but they also were busy building somebody else's dream and working that 9 to 5 for somebody else. And I remember at a very, very young age thinking, man, this is ass backwards. And really, from there, that was the beginning of something great. I'm not the girl that's gonna, I don't let grass grow under my feet. I think that's the best way to say it. And there's no excuses. I think we can all have whatever it is that we truly desire if we want it bad enough.
So it sounds a little bit like you were so repelled by the idea of working 9 to 5, especially building someone else's vision or dream, that you were naturally inclined to seek out ways, paths, solutions, tools. What were some of the early educational things that you picked up on? Maybe it's podcasts or books. How did you even get to that point where you knew how to go about it, that you have to do things on your own things in your own right, have equity, have stake in things?
Sure. No, that's a great question there. I think that first and foremost, I knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I knew that I didn't want somebody bossing me around and telling me what I could do and what I couldn't do. And come hell or high water, I knew I wasn't going to choose that path. And so initially out of the gate, I wanted to become an obstetrician and I wanted to deliver babies. And then I I had two uncles that were chiropractors. I love that they created their own life, that they could live life on their own terms, do what they want, have freedom, and the sky was the limit on their earning power. Right. And so that became I was intrigued. And so long story short, I too followed their lead and I became a chiropractor. And within, my goodness, 12 months, not only did I open up one office, I ended up opening up a second office. And then it really became about helping others. And when I say helping others, it's twofold. Yes, it was the patients, getting to work with patients and helping them from walking in the door feeling really cruddy to walking out feeling like they were on top of their game, high five, out the door, and turning their power on. That was number one. But number two is, yes, I had 30 headaches, or team members, we'll call them. Imagine being able to change the life of these 30 employees. And when I say that, a lot of it was entry-level positions. We're talking about high school kids, college kids. And could you imagine them getting to be in an environment where they could meet this woman that was so on fire for life and super passionate? To me, it was about giving back and pouring into other people's life, whether it was the patient or whether it was one of my employees, and truly walking that out. So I think that that's really what got me fired up and being in business. It was really just changing lives from the get-go.
I think what you just touched upon is so essential. It's like having that culture drive, the business growth. And I think you can also see that in, for example, the experience of your patients if the team is on fire, and it starts with the leader. And I think that's like a common thing that's maybe being overlooked. You can have all kinds of skills, but if you're not good at driving culture and getting the people that work for you excited. And I speak a little bit out of my own experience. I remember the first company we founded, we were not able to spark it, because I didn't understand yet how crucial that is. I thought that I could hire people and tell them what the job description is, and expect everything to work smoothly and we build a great organization. And then I realized that's not how it works. You have to, transfer the spark and get people excited, and you have to make room within your vision for their vision of life.
Yep. I love that you say that. I think really just speaking to the listeners out there, this brings me to that point of, listen, you don't have to be the sharpest tool in the shed. Meaning, I already told you, I wasn't the smartest person in my chiropractic class and graduated at the top. I didn't. But I knew that if I graduated and I got my license to become a doctor, now the ball was in my court. And truthfully speaking, would I rather be top of my class and maybe not have people skills and business savvy skills? Or would I rather come and be, maybe in the middle of the road, but know that I have a passion for people, I love business, and I love winning? Because I would way rather have that. And let me tell you why. There's so much crossover. No matter what I touch, I like to say I have the Midas touch, right? Whatever I touch, I'm going to play full out and I'm going to win. Right? And so for me, I hope to share with the listeners that you don't have to be the best. As a matter of fact, whatever space and whatever direction you end up going, whatever your weakness is, I have news for you. There's always someone to fill the gap. Find that person that is excellent at whatever you are really weak at. And together, you'll make this awesome, synergistic team. And that's exactly what I've done today.
Yeah, and I think that it's so crucial and it's so awesome that you saw that in yourself. Where did that self-awareness come from? Like, okay, I might not be the best chiropractor, but I know how to bring people together, and I know how to create an extraordinary service for my patients. Is that something that came just very natural to you, or is that trial and error? Is that contemplation?
Yeah. Well, let me correct myself. When I say that I wasn't good, I didn't mean at the craft of adjusting patients. I meant it as far as studies and excelling well as I was in my 4-year program to become a doctor. Yeah. I was cruddy. I was a C student. But let me tell you, I can deliver a mean adjustment and really take care of my patients. So, but going back to your question, I think that it was all about my journey in life. What I took part in was sports. I love sports. I played soccer in college, all through high school. I ran track. I ran cross country. And let me tell you something. There are so many skills that you learn being a part of a team, of encouraging your teammates and speaking life into them, and vice versa. You want to be a person for good. And so always growing up, I was just a very positive person to all of my athletes that were on the teams with me. Hence, that's why at times I got voted as captain, because I was the encourager. I was the one that would, that a boy, that a girl, right? And then that even crossed over to becoming prom princess, queen, whatever. It's because people had a love for me because I truly cared so much about people, and they could see that. Right? So I think that it was really through sports of getting your confidence and knowing that you're a great athlete and you get to play with awesome people, and the confidence levels begin to grow. Right? And then think about it, through life, everything is a journey. And as you have these small little wins, you can't help but to have your confidence level go up and up and up. So what do I mean by that? I mean, look, starting in school and then becoming a doctor and then being in private practice and getting into the single family space super organically, purchasing 26 rental properties in 2 years, owning them free and clear, to moving up the ladder and going into the multifamily space. And in 3 years, owning 26 multifamily properties. Do you see what I'm saying? As you have these wins and you celebrate them along the way, the confidence level begins to go through the roof. And it's not a cocky confidence. It's a confidence of, man, if I've come this far with who I am, who else could I help put on the road and the path to win in life? And that's what I'm so passionate about.
Yeah. And I love what you're pointing at. And I think one thing worthwhile pointing out is the confidence comes from rolling, from action taking, from keeping going. And, being consistent on taking action leads to results. And, it's not something that I think sometimes people mistake confidence from something that's just naturally in some people and it's not in other people. But I think looking at your path too, it's just reassuring you, like, hey, I've come a long way, and I can keep going. Like, if I got this far, I will go even further. Let's see where we can take this. But it comes from the attitude of taking massive action and not taking no for answers, and figuring things out. So let's talk a little bit about the transition from having your practices to going to real estate. What was that like for you, and why the shift?
I'll try and keep that super short, but being a doctor in private practice, and I know a lot of the listeners that are doctors and in the healthcare space can totally relate. What happened was there's a shift, and reimbursements, meaning the payouts that you get from insurance companies, started to get a little bit weaker. And instead of putting time into seeing a patient and really taking care of them, there was more paperwork that was having to be done. And I think the clincher on it all was I ended up paying like 50 cents of every dollar in taxes to Uncle Sam. And what was happening is all of a sudden in my head, I went, oh my goodness, Uncle Sam is robbing my kids of all the hard-earned money that could be creating generational wealth, yet I'm paying it in taxes. What if there was an easier way, right? And all of a sudden, I came across real estate, and I had a patient come in, And sure enough, he's out in the front talking to my receptionist about how he was closing on another property and he was going to be creating some mailbox money. And I'll never forget the day I heard that conversation out there. So what happened? He got on my table to get adjusted and I couldn't help myself. I said, "Hey, Bob, I couldn't help but to hear you say out there that you're creating something called mailbox money." I said, "Tell me more." And he began to tell me about it. And it was that he was closing on a single family property and he was going to be adding one more stream of mailbox money. And literally that's all it took. I was intrigued, and maybe one person may not do anything with that, but I will tell you, I did. And what I said is, "Bob, I'd love to go to lunch with you and pick your brain. I'd love to learn more. Are you open to it?" And he said, "Yeah, of course," right? He valued me because I made him feel better. And of course, he wanted to pour back into me. And so we went to lunch, had a great conversation, and the rest is history. That's what started that whole desire of how could I create the mailbox money? And that's exactly what I went on to do.
Nice. But it also kind of shows, you're already at the level where somebody values as a person. What would that look like maybe for somebody who's younger, who can't just access Bob and ask him out for lunch? Where do you think younger people can get started?
Sure. So here's the thing. There are so many mentors out there. I would tell the younger crew, go find somebody that has what you want. I feel like in my life, I always would seize the opportunity. Just because I wanted to go into real estate doesn't mean I had to go find a mentor that was in real estate. As a matter of fact, another patient of mine he created a pizza company that just blew up and I think there were 100, he created a franchise and over 125 of these pizza companies, Lamppost Pizza, were created. So I see that he was a very shrewd, wise businessman. And so what did I do? Again, I asked, "Hey, is there any chance I could take you to lunch? I would love to pick your brain and learn about how you've had such incredible success with your pizza company." And here's truth be told. These mentors or people that are out there winning at life, if they're truly great people, they want to share the goods with you. They want to help you get a hand up. They want you to win in life. And it's an honor. It was an absolute honor for me he was honored that I would ask him for lunch. And so when you find a true mentor that is winning in whatever craft you desire, I promise you, if you take the leap of faith, put yourself out there, share with that person why you respect them and what it is that you love that they're doing that you too may be passionate about. And I promise you, people will take a chance on you.
Nice. Yeah, but you got to be willing to put yourself out there. And I think this is such a crucial piece. And that's what holds people back. They think, people will judge me. I cannot ask them. But, if you never ask, you never know.
That's so true. It's absolutely true.
So then you're moving into the single family space, and within 2 years, you acquired over 20 properties. I mean, that's quite a pace. Where did that ambition, drive come from?
Yeah, I love that you're asking that. I wish we had a few more episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, because I feel like I have so many nuggets for my journey that I would love to share with your people. I mean, I could touch on it really quickly, but once I got into the single family space, yes, I didn't have a whole lot of money. As a matter of fact, let's talk about my first transaction. It was really it was a 6-pack of homes that I had found from Indianapolis that were being sold. And this will share with you the sheer grit that I had. I found out that these homes were $300,000 in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I didn't have $300,000. I had $125,000. And so this goes to show you that come hell or high water, I was going to figure out how to buy these homes. So what did I do? I pulled cash off my credit cards. I reached out to my father and asked if he would give me a loan, and I would extend this wonderful opportunity of him to make 7% on his money. It's all about the way you present it. It's all about perceptional positioning. I didn't go beg him for money. I said, I have an incredible opportunity for you to make 7% on your money. And long story short, I was able to close on all 6 of these properties because I got creative, because I didn't let no be the answer. I figured out, look, I don't have a problem here. Okay, maybe I have a problem, but now it's time to go work the problem and find solutions. And so that's what I did. And that's how I got in the space to take down my first 6 properties.
So how did you get into the space and wrap your head around what it means to be a landlord? Like, did that come natural to you, or, did you have a couple of really bad experiences at first with tenants? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. First of all, the 6 homes that I bought, they already had somebody that was managing those properties. So it was super easy for me to transition over and let these 2, let's just talk about it really quick. When I had purchased those, there were 2 managing companies. Why? 3 of the homes were Section 8 affordable housing, and they had vouchers. The other 3 were not. So there was a specialist property manager who manages Section 8 homes. Well, the Section 8 home manager called me up and said, hey, I know you bought all 6 of those, so would you be open to me taking the other 3 so I could have 6 and take care of your homes for you? And I said, man, I love your persistence. I love that you would call me and ask if you could have all 6. I got to be honest with you. I've got 2 property managers here, and I really would like to see who's going to take best care of me and my properties and my tenants. And so whoever does the most exceptional job, that's who's going to get the business of all 6 of the homes. And he goes, wow, that's a great answer. I totally get it, right? So it really, that was, I already had all of the boots on the ground. I had the construction workers that could come and do a little, put lipstick on the pig if I needed to on those units, right? And so after a great experience of those 6, I knew some more ins and outs. I knew I wanted to invest more into the market. And furthermore, I heard that there was something called a double close. And so with that being said, I was out of money, guys. I was out of money. And so what did I do? I learned what a double close is, and I'll keep it short. But for those of you that don't know what a double close is, it looks like this. You have a seller, and we'll call him A. I am the buyer, B, but I'm only going to buy for a short time. And then I'm going to turn around and sell it to an end buyer. We call him C. And so what did I do? I put a house under contract for $40,000, set to close on June 1st. And I turned around and found another buyer, an end buyer, to close on June 1st. But our price on our contract was $50,000. So we all closed on the same day. The end buyer got his home. He put his $50,000 in escrow. The seller got their $40,000. And who got their $10,000? Me. So what did I do? I rinsed and repeated that, and rinsed, and repeated that, and rinsed and repeated that. And what did I do? I used those proceeds. And that, my friend, is how I got my 26 homes, owning them free and clear without any other partners. I got strategic. I got resourceful, and I made no excuses. I figured out the double close, and I went and worked it until I got her done.
So how do you get the timing lined up of those double closes? How do you make sure, there is no hiccups in the process?
Yeah, well, listen, I think that number one, when I had already started closing at this point, I had, when I first got started, I had closed on 12 properties in the first 6 months. Let's be honest, word gets out. My patients find out, friends find out, not being braggadocious, but sharing, man, if I could do this, so can you. You guys got to get in the game. This is so fun, right? So what happened was people would come to me and say, hey, can you help me get a property? I want to become an owner of a rental property. And my goodness, here was the problem. We lived in Southern California. The median house price was $800,000. So $50,000 buy-in was extremely attractive, right? And so I would just help. I would help people buy a rental property and let them become, or let them have this cash flowing asset at a buy-in of $50,000. So I went on to do this, and word just got out from other people. As a matter of fact, this is a big piece of it. I would say to people, look, there's a company in Indianapolis, ABC, that's been doing this for 20 years. You should probably go talk to them. They're much more seasoned than me. There's going to be a little bit higher buy-in price. Mine's a little bit lower, but I'm much newer. And here's the thing, because I was brutally honest and I took it off the table and told them to go work with the more seasoned company, the buyers wanted me more because I was forthright. There was no manipulation going on. It was like, here, look, I'm new at this. I can absolutely help you. I'm just going to show you how I did it. If you want help, I'm happy to help you. What did that turn into? 230 buy and sell transactions within a 3-year time frame. Sounds crazy, right? Listen, guys, there's no excuses here. I promise. I had no website, no phone number for my buyers to call. I had no money. I was tapped out. And check this, last one. I never even went to Indianapolis, Indiana. Yet I did 230 buy and sell transactions. This is not to brag. Look, it's to tell you, look, if this chick can do it, so can you.
But you did build yourself a team, a network, which is essential for successful investing.
Well, not in the single family space. I was the chick that wore the hat to find the money, to find the buyer, to find the house, to find the rehab crew. I did it all. And that's when I got introduced down the road here to the multifamily space.
Yeah.
And so truthfully, when I heard about multifamily space, I thought it was just for the billionaires.
That's what everybody thinks. And this is exactly one of the reasons we have the show, because I want people to understand it's not just for the billionaires. And now I would like you to tell us why, after everything you've experienced, you know, from trading properties on the same day, learning how to make money there, from owning single family homes free and clear, why do you work mainly in the multifamily space at this point?
Sure. That's a fantastic question. I think it's probably pretty clear that I'm addicted to growth. I love learning. I love growing. I love being stretched at full capacity. I love to learn how to do more that is going to create ultimate freedom and literally take me to a whole nother level of freedom of time, freedom of financial freedom, all of the freedoms that one could ever desire. I found a vehicle to do it even far better than I had even experienced. What do I mean? I mean, like, colleagues in my space thought I was crazy. They said, you have 2 practices. They're super lucrative and super successful. Well, as I told you, fast forward, I could already see what was happening in the healthcare industry. And I didn't want to be that girl that all of a sudden the carpet got ripped out from underneath me and I was left screwed. I was not going to allow that to happen to me. And so with that being said, the multifamily space, I had heard about it. I thought it was just for billionaires. I went to an event. I was in the front row with my arms crossed, like, this can't be real. And sure enough, it was like the Red Sea had parted. And I figured out, holy smokes, this is nuts. I feel like, I like to say it like such. I feel like it's like the game of Monopoly. I've been playing Monopoly and landing on Vermont. And if you don't know, Vermont is the absolute cheapest rent that you get paid. And that's what I had, the single family. Well, all of a sudden, I just found out that I am absolutely worthy and capable of landing on Boardwalk every single time, i.e. the multifamily space. And so what was appealing to me is that you could increase your net worth in a radical way. You could get close to zero on your taxes. You can create generational wealth. It was something where my kids, the likelihood of them becoming a doctor was very minuscule. but the likelihood of me being able to show them how to create passive income and build generational wealth was super high. And so let's just say I was on a mission to figure out how to build that empire like yesterday, right? After I found out the good news, I literally leaped, ran, and if I'm completely honest with you, I ended up leaving the profession that I had, sold my practices, and I moved to Texas where there was a lot more opportunity. It was this, guys. Imagine having to take a massive, massive pay cut because you see something so grandiose on the other side. And I knew that it was going to take time, but I knew with every fiber in me, it was going to be the best decision I ever made. And it has been absolutely unbelievable, the rewards that have been reaped in such a short amount of time.
So how do you pass that money mindset on to your children? You know, you have a bunch of them, you have an entire basketball team basically. How do you pass that money mindset on? And I think that's one of the big challenges people face, you know, and if we're not conscious about passing on a good money mindset, we definitely pass one on that's a lot harder to break down the road. And I think that's kind of the predicament of most people. They are not exposed to, you know, investment mindsets from their parents. So how do you personally encourage your kids to become smart around this?
Well, listen, I think there's a few things that I would like to share on this point that I think are really, really important. First of all, I want to go back to leaving practice and going to the multifamily real estate space. I will tell you, I'm one of 5 kids. My family thought I was crazy. They thought I was on drugs. They're like, why would you leave such a successful practice to go and leave for this so-called real estate? You think you're going to be this professional, and there she goes drinking the Kool-Aid again. Like, truly, I got a lot of flack. And I think it always went back to, look, I didn't learn about how to duplicate your seed money at a young age. And the terms cash flow and OPM and ROI were not terms that were flung around my household. And I knew that there had to be another way. And with me having 5 children, I was the one that was responsible. And when I got to taste the goodness of being a real estate investor in the single family space, I became so unapologetically obsessed to growth and being able to create this generational wealth. And so then we moved to the multifamily space, and I got a taste of it even more. And I just became on fire for wanting to equip my children and let them get a taste of what passive income looks like and how to put their life to be in control of their life and their future, right? And so I think that it really started with my daughter. She's now 23, but at the age of 16, I gave her an opportunity to invest and buy her first single family house. Super simple. I'll keep it short, but basically she had $7,000 in her bank account and was going to buy a car on her 16th birthday. And I said, you have a choice here. You can buy that new car, or mom will give you a home for $7,000. You give me your $7,000 and I'll give you a cash flowing asset that will make $500 a month. She didn't want to do it. She went to bed thinking about it, and she woke up the next day, fine, I'll buy the house, like distraught. And I'm like, you don't have to do it. She's like, no, I know it's an asset and the car's a liability. And long story short, she ended up buying this investment property at the age of 16. She had doubled the value of it at the age of 21. She got into her first apartment building at the age of 21, and she's now 23, and we're getting ready to exit out of that apartment. And she's done very, very well. So that was the first for my oldest, and super amazing. That is what gets me going, is to be able to teach those children.
I love that. And probably the rental income still got her in a decent car.
Yep, it sure did. Look, at the same token, I didn't want to push her, right? Children have to make their own decisions. I remember her going to bed that night, and I'd already proposed it. And I said, look, I don't need an answer from you. Sleep on it. Let me know what you think in the morning. Although, Riley, I just want to let you know, if you choose to buy that house, you can use my car. You don't have to pay for your own gas. You don't have to pay for your insurance. You don't have to pay for your maintenance, but you will if you buy your own car. So, just think about it tonight. And so, of course, we want them to back into their own decision, right, as she did. And so what did that turn into? My next two kids. They're like, you helped Riley out when she was young. Are you going to help us out? And so I went on to, we had 2 Airbnbs. Each of them started their own Airbnb. Mom helped fund it, and they get half of all the proceeds that come in for their they have shipping container Airbnbs that we built, and they're on some of our land, and they now run these Airbnbs, and they're really successful. And so just teaching the kids is seriously what gets me excited about the space we're in.
Nice. I love this. And I'm just as excited about the educational part about it, because, who doesn't want to share freedom with people? Like the ability to execute on these things and having the mindset to overcome the fear. I'm like, I'm not so sure. And that's one of the things that sometimes drives me crazy when I speak to people that are really close to my heart, and I can see them when I speak to them getting hung up in their own mind. But as you said, just like with the kids, and even more so with adults, everybody has to make their own calls, and you cannot push anybody, especially when it comes to money. Everybody should make their own decisions. But that's where it excites me to speak to people when you see it's clicking, and that's one of the things that really, I just love doing that. So I can see that we share that.
Yes, sir.
So where are you taking Quattro Capital in the next couple of years? You're already on fire. What are your personal goals for Quattro Capital?
Yeah, I love that you're asking me. I think for us is we are really getting ready for the rainfall. And I know some would say, rainfall, whatever, this market and inflation and recession and now's not a good time to buy. Well, truth be told, a lot of our colleagues right now are sitting on the sidelines, and Quattro Capital is not. We are leaning in. We're ready to take action. I think that there is going to be a lot of people in a position where they have to get out of their multifamily property, meaning that their term is up, or they just don't have the money to continue on. They're in a really bad position. So we're ready. We're locked and loaded, ready, looking to sponsor some deals with some other individuals that have deals they want to bring to us. And, Quattro Capital, we've got our number ourselves. Yes, we syndicate, but we also buy things just within Quattro that we can keep as legacy property, because here's why. We also want to have that income coming in and not just be transactional. Meaning when you do syndications, yes, there's an acquisition fee and so on and so forth, but with owning our own, we're not looking for an acquisition fee. We're looking for the cash flow that it's going to spit off monthly. And so there's a nice medium balance. We got to find middle ground. Yes, we're doing syndications. Yes, we're buying some for ourselves. And really it's, we're pretty excited. 3 years and we've got just under 200 million assets under management, and we're hoping to pick up and do just this year another 200 million. So that's our goal, and we hope to hit it for sure.
I love this. And I think just to make the distinction for the listeners, in the early stage of building wealth, being slightly more on the transactional end can help. Just like, when you did your transactions where you bought and sold on the same day, or, when you do syndications. But if you really want to build generational wealth, that's when you want to have quality assets and quality locations and kind of hold on to them, because that can turn into infinite returns at some point.
Yes. And I think, look, at the end of the day, we, with our investors, we've really been able to underpromise and overdeliver. Similar to a lot of syndicators out there, our goal is to double one's money in 5 years. And so we share with our investors 18 to 20% return. Well, I'm proud and happy to say that this past year, we've exited out of 5 properties, and all 5 of those properties, each one, have netted over a 30% annual return. And I'm not talking about average together with all 5. I'm talking about individually. Every single one of them have hit over 30% annual return. And so we don't walk away. We don't walk around saying, oh, yeah, we're going to get you 30% on your money. No, we say between 18 and 20% a year. And our investors, listen, when they come in with us, maybe they put 100,000, and now all of a sudden, since we've exceeded their expectations, they come to the table with $500,000, at $1 million, right? And so it continues to be in that place and space where they want to continue to do business with you. They're happy. We've executed on the business plan. And so it's game on. And now they want to tell their brother, their uncle, their dog Spot. You get the gist, right? They want to invest with us even more.
Yeah. So how do you communicate with potential investors right now? Because the market has shifted. There's a lot of headlines. You know, how do you go about those conversations these days as things have shifted and people are a lot more cautious and kind of holding back on their cash in this market?
Yeah, so I'm really about educating. I love to educate individuals and investors that we work with. At the end of the day, it's super, super important to find out their goals and their needs and what it is they're looking for and how we can best help move their needle forward. Are they looking for cash flow? Are they good for just the appreciation right now? Are they just looking to grow their retirement, right? So we have to find out what it is that they're in need of. And then second, I always will educate my potential investors by first and foremost reminding them of something that's super important. And I tell people this: the property, imagine going to the horse races. The property is the horse. You want to look for this beautiful property that looks great, but even more important is the operator, also known as the jockey. You want to make sure that you're betting on the jockey, not on the horse. And so I will always educate those potential investors that make sure you're working with the right group, which leads me to send them to our website. I'll say, learn about our team. Make sure that your gut aligns with who we are as people and what our goals and visions are, which is to help take care of people. Obviously, making money is important, but taking care of our communities is also incredibly important, and they coexist together. And so upon learning about our team, then I will then share with them how to get to our portal and not access a deal that we currently have, but I'll tell them and lead them to a deal that we previously had. And I'll say, watch the business webinar so that you can get educated on how we structure our deals and what's in it for you as an investor. They're going to be different, deal specific, but very similar at the end of the day. And so I'm not trying to shove a new opportunity down their throat. I'm trying to help pour into them, educate them, and bring value. And then it's a natural progression down the road if they want to invest with us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the best way for people to reach out to you? Where can they find you in Quadro Capital?
Sure. Yep. Best is 2 things. You can either go to our website, which is www.thequattro, QUATTROWAY.com. From there, as I said, learn about the team. You can click on a button that shows my face and you can book an appointment from there, or you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. Certainly leave a private message there and I'm happy to connect. As a matter of fact, I put it out there for individuals to jump on a 15-minute strategy call, game plan, get to know one another, see if we align, and see if perhaps we might want to do some business together. So it's always nice to meet folks, and I'm happy to give any kind of advice from my past and see if I can help you move your needle forward.
Awesome. And then one of my favorite questions that I like to ask before we wrap up is, what do you call a life worth or well-lived, rather?
A life worth well-lived. Listen, I think I was pretty clear. A life worth well-lived is truly about my kids, When I pass away, I want my kids to go, holy smokes, my mom is the most amazing woman ever. I learned so much from her. She equipped me ready for the game of life. She taught me to go and reach for my dreams, whatever it is that I desire, I could have. My mom instilled that at such a young age that whatever it may be, come hell or high water, you can have whatever it is you desire. One foot in front of the other, action, take action, take action. And I hope that they, when I pass away, that they say, man, my mom had grit. Man, my mom was resourceful. Man, my mom didn't take no for an answer. My mom taught me how to navigate here in the game of life and win in every area. Yes, there's going to be trials, but those are what make us stronger. And the longer we stay down, that's a problem. We want to be able to get back up and push through the hard because it makes those wins that much sweeter.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Erin Hudson, thank you so much for your time. This was amazing. This was a true piece of mindset here. Yeah, thanks so much for sharing and taking the time out of your busy day.
You're so welcome. It was an absolute honor and a pleasure, my friend. Take care.
Thank you for joining us at The Path to Wealth. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Check out our upcoming guests and be sure to share it with all your friends and family that want to take their life to the next level of wealth.